Okay. Okay. Right now, that is on. The owl is live streaming. So do you have another meeting that you're gonna send out to all of us?
So we should
You are being recorded right now.
Sarah? Really?
I sent
Yikes.
Yeah, Joe and Sarah.
Did you send me an invite?
we should actually have comments for the appropriate time.
Rob's not.
Oh, yeah, what are the comments?
I haven't given one.
For which one?
I have my inbox open here. Oh, I got
So
one
those get
earlier
sent.
today.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, that's the same.
Later than they should. So we should have those.
So I can do the same one that you sent out earlier? Oh, okay.
We would have had it about a week or so before those happened.
Well, there's Sarah and Joe.
Well, and you're gonna be able to see it up there.
Hey, Joe, can you do some test docs?
Ooh. Ooh, leave your,
Leave it up.
I don't think it's reverberating like. Yes.
This will be interesting. Hey, no, you. Hey, Joe. Your hair's gotten longer since we saw you last.
I'm gonna start this thing.
I'm here in the.
I call to the order, please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we do roll call, I just want to let the public know that we have two council members on our Zoom, Sarah Ludwig and Joe Muehlbauer on Zoom. Each vote will be by roll call. Joe, you will be roll call, please.
Councilmember Muehlbauer. Here. Councilmember Robinson.
Here.
Councilmember Ludwig. Here. Mayor Phil.
Here. All right, thank you. All right, do I have a motion tonight to adopt tonight's agenda? Do I have a motion?
Make that motion, Mayor.
Councilor Robinson makes a motion, do I have a second? Councilor Muehlbauer makes a second. For any discussion, all in favor say, well, let's do a roll call.
Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Councilmember Muehlbauer. Aye. Councilmember Ludwig.
Aye.
Mayor Phil.
Aye. Thank you. All right, on tonight's consent agenda, Councilor Robinson would like to have some clarification on item C, so do I have a motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda, items A, B, and D? Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor. I would like to make this thing about D also, if I may. Or
D2?
GFO, yeah.
C and D?
Yes, please.
Okay. So do I have a motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda, items A and B? Councilor Robinson makes the first motion, Councilor Muehlbauer makes the second motion. All in favor, will you do a roll call, Joel, please?
Councilmember Muehlbauer. Aye. Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Councilmember Ludwig. Aye. Mayor Phil.
Aye. Okay, your questions on item C, Kevin?
Yes, sir. I emailed Jason earlier this morning just to give him this heads up, but this MMUA safety contract that we're signing into, it's about $21,000. I don't have my sheet open here, but a couple questions I had for you, Jason. And again, it's a large amount of money and over $5,000 per quarter to pay. I'm just curious, one, is there any competition for this type of service that's supplied to our city?
Yeah, there is, there's a couple other companies that do it. OX is one of them, Minnesota Safety Council. and then MMUA are the three big ones. Minnesota Safety Council is Anoka Hennepin, and their service is, like, for instance, everything west or east of 65, Forest Lake, Columbus, Stacy, Linwood, Chisago, Wyoming. They all go to, it's hosted at Ziegler and Forest Lake, and then each city or township pays into it, and then they go there to whatever events or OSHA standards that they want, whether it be, confined space or chainsaw safety or bloodborne pathogens. It depends on how it's tailored to you.
Right.
But it doesn't compare in depth to the MMUA. So the MMUA is more of, they come to you and City Hall can get just what they need. Police and fire typically do their own stuff, but Public Works is very broad. Just to give you an idea, I pulled some reports today on what we do. We do load securement, machine guarding, office safety, personal protective equipment, park playground, power saws, respiratory protection, rigging, lifting, pulling, safety culture behavior, along with all the bloodborne pathogens. And we have that at our disposal, right? So if somebody misses the training, we don't have to pay extra to have them come back. They come out and they do it. With that, they also come out and do random checks through all our facilities. And I can tell you from experience, where I used to work, when OSHA showed up, I had about 30 seconds to prepare. That's it. I mean, they come through the door and they immediately, from the time they walk through the door, they're asking you for your records, your accident data, and you got to be able to do it. And then once you're done with all that, that took about 3 hours to go through all that. Then they went to City Hall, did the same thing there. They went out, the fire department did the same thing, and then they go look at all the facilities, and that's where it gets expensive. The first thing he told me was the neighboring city was just fined a little over $250,000. That's how he set the tone, and then I ended up spending 2.5 days with them, and then they do the report. But what MMUA does that these other companies don't do is they come out and they make sure that everything is up to par. They do random checks. I've yet to find another company that does that service. So I had heard about MMUA prior to me working here, and then I was introduced to them, obviously, when I started. But we have a safety committee, and a department head from each department obviously sits on it. It's a collective group of second to none. I mean, they take care of all your paperwork for you, what you need to do, and then they do internal audits. $21,000, you're right, it's a lot of money, but with what we get for it, it's very cheap if someone was to get hurt to know that we have all our ducks in a row. Puts very little responsibility on the employee. You'd asked if there was anybody internally that could be, taught this so they could teach it. That would be very tough because it's time consuming. And then it's their they pretty much take the responsibility with the verbiage that they're using. They're very strict. So you're getting more than just a walkthrough and a certificate saying we went through this. We're actually getting what we're paid for. People are being trained to do the right things. We're being held accountable by making sure our shop and facilities are up to par.
Is any of it redundant where we learn the same thing from the following year can we not scale it back to, and I would never compromise safety for anything, don't get me wrong there. But is any of the stuff redundant that we've always been 5 stars in so many areas, and then again, our price tag now has gone up a couple bucks here this year. But is there anything that redundant, and can we save any money in the 21,000 and not compromise safety in any fashion or knowledge and education?
That I'm not sure of. I haven't looked at the contract. Joe was taking care of that, but I do know that they keep track of who has what training, and if we can get by going 2 years without a certain training, we're always bringing in new stuff, if that makes sense. So it's ever evolving.
Okay.
I don't know how that works in their contract, to be honest with you. If you can, say, hey, we don't need this, this, and this because we got it covered. I don't, you'd have to ask Joe on that. But I would tell you that this place is second to none compared to what I've worked with in the past.
But yet other cities are using them for some reason, so maybe, but they're gonna be short-sighted on some areas where we're checking all the boxes per se.
No question.
Okay.
We're fully protected, and this is the Minnesota Municipal Utilities Association.
Correct. The other thing is Minnesota has its own OSHA compliances along with federal. So not every state mandates that. Minnesota is one of them. So we gotta have both.
I just didn't want to be held captive by one company and we didn't, it's one of the old adage of, this is the way we've always done it, trying to break out of that, but if this is the best mousetrap, then we'll keep paying for it. That's really what I want to
Well,
get
and
at.
one thing I want to mention is, as Jason mentioned before, that seems like a lot of money, but one client from OSHA can wipe that out in a heartbeat.
I understand.
And these are the best qualified people that handle this. This is what they do that's their expertise.
This company is really good. I was very impressed.
Well, it's not the company, it's an association.
Well, yeah, but we have a gentleman that is assigned to us that comes out, and that's who we work with. So any employee at any given time can call with questions, concerns, maybe different training that they may want, and we have.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
What about item D?
Item D.
I know you want to talk about.
Yep, that was the award given to our, to Darcy for,
Or D, did you say?
I'm sorry, again, I don't have my screen up. I meant,
You meant
D.
D?
Yeah,
Okay, well, I thought you said D.
I'm sorry, my mistake. Again, I'm watching the Zoom side instead of, thank you. No, I questioned Darcy this morning. Her department received another award for the budgetary practices. And I said, is this something, in this day and age, it's one of those things where everybody gets a medal. Well, that's not the case. She alerted me right away and responded right away that, well, you said 1 in 25, 1 in 20, what was it?
25 cities in Minnesota.
In Minnesota alone, okay, so that kind of narrows down the group as far as who's doing it, right? And then between the United States and Canada, it was only,
1,700 and something, I think.
7, so. Anyways, I wanted Darcy's department to be recognized for what she's done. To me, you see these come and go, and I've seen it in other cities where it's not just a simple word. I mean, she worked hard at it. We belong to this organization, but it's not biased in any way. They actually scrutinize what she turns in and what's done. So I just wanted to be recognized for that. That's all.
We've already approved it, but she doesn't really like the recognition, that's why.
Well, she didn't have a choice this time.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
I thank you for that, I thank her for that, okay? We keep it going up, and then we get Baker's dozen next year, whatever. All right, now that, so I will have to have a motion to adopt next consent agenda for A and D, as we've already done the B, so I have a motion for that.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
All right, Councilman Robinson makes a motion, Councilman Rogan makes a second, this is kind of weird, assuming this, but anyway, we'll do a roll call, Ms. Joe, please.
Councilmember Robinson,
Aye.
Councilmember Rudnick, Councilmember Mulebach, Mayor Powell.
Aye. Okay. All right, meeting open to the public. Do we have anyone signed up? Okay. Then we'll move on to old business right away. Old business is ordinance 284, amending city code sections 10-23-01, 10-44-02, and parts 10-66-00 to include agritourism and interim use permit for the business park district, second reading. Also added 2 resolution 2021-47 denying an interim use permit to allow agritourism uses on a site zone EP business park and ordinance amendments. Kate or Beth?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council. So before you tonight is the application for a zoning amendment to allow agritourism as an interim use in the business park district, as well as an associated interim use permit application. The council discussed these requests at their meeting on September 7th. They also discussed it at the work session last week. Here we go. We're good? Okay. So reflecting on the discussion at the work session last week, the applicant did make some changes, which are in your packet tonight. They mainly are about the hours. So the applicant has reduced the number of days that he's proposing to be open, has also reduced the time frame that the interim use would be operating. So we can talk about specifics if you have questions. Otherwise, that is in your packet as one of the conditions. So tonight, the council is requested to take action on both of these requests. So suggested motions for approval as well as denial have been listed in your packets on page 46.
No, this is annoying.
I'm trying to get her to be on Zoom.
I can fix it. Okay, I saw the changes that was brought forth by Mr. Slim, Brian rather, and, you know, I see that he's listing the days to 114, I see some of the hours listed and all that, but it really comes down to is, do we want agritourism in that specific area, okay? We want a business park in that area, that's what we want, okay? I think we've discussed this more enough. You know, it's something my father taught me a long time ago, when you're pushing too hard to make something work, you need to back off. And I think it's time to back off this. I really don't want to continue going on about hearing from the public about porta potties, trash, and everything else. And we've heard about it over and over again, and I get it, I really do. But I think really what it comes down to is, I don't know if you can, you know, customize the hours and everything else to satisfy the residents, and then the hours and everything else and all that. It's still an area that really, in my opinion, shouldn't be agritourism, okay? It should be a business park. And all I could wish is that I hope he will go forward and work with us to get the business park up and running, get use of there, municipal urban service area, water, sewer there, and work with us, and we will work with them in a big way. But that's just my thought. So this needs a four vote to get it passed. I don't want any more work sessions on this. I think, like I say again, in my opinion, it's just not the area for agritourism. Okay? So, I'm going to turn this over to council to get their comments on this and see where they're at. Okay? Joe, would you please give us your comments on this? All right, thank you, Joe. Sarah, your comments on this? Sarah? All right, thank you, Sarah. Kevin, your comments?
I also have been wrestling with this as well. I guess there'll be something else coming up, maybe before the council, with the same situation, that an area is designated for X, and the person who is applying for the situation is asking for Y, and then the people who live in the surrounding area bought and built and have lived there for a long time, knowing that it was going to be a certain thing at some point. Again, my feelings is that a business park is going to come someday. There'll be some infrastructure come someday. There'll be asphalt there someday. But that day is not now. So again, I hate to set the precedence of changing it to morph into one thing. If Mr. Sunderman was coming forward with asphalt and infrastructure plans and some money and some backing and stuff, I would say this is true to course. This is what we had planned for. I would still take into consideration the public's comments and concerns, because it all matters, and we're glad you came out and you know, spoke your mind. And I'm glad Mr. Sunderman tried to make this work in such a way, but this is not the venue for this, because it's designated to be something else in the future. But again, it's the true meaning of this place, or purpose for this area of our city, is coming sometime. We might not see it in our time here, but I would have to say we could not approve this.
I just want to follow up and say to you that I commend Mr. Sunderman for trying very hard to make this work and all that. But as we left the last work session, we were hoping between the two parties, the residents and yourself, Mr. Sunderman, that we could work out a compromise. But you tried it, and I don't think it's going to be received. They don't want it there. They don't think it should be there. A business park is coming. I will warn you again, a business park is coming. And I'm sure it'll be there before us on some problem with one of those permitted uses, and I'm sure we will hear it. Of course, we will hear it because you're the public. But I can tell you right now, we want a business park. And that's the direction. So just be prepared. You know, you mentioned to us that you know progress is coming. There it is. Progress is coming. The town's growing. It has certain needs. People want Aldi's here. They want Walgreens here. They want things here. We're growing, and those things will be coming. So you got to get used to that idea. I mean, in this particular case, we feel that this isn't the right area for agritourism, but we do feel it's the right place for a business park. So be prepared. And like I say again, it will be your right to come and talk to us at that time on some concerns you have of that. But asphalt, city utilities, all that will be there in eventuality. When it will come, I can't tell you. Mr. Sunderman, again, I can't emphasize enough, work with us on a business park, and then we'll work with you on that and get used to it earlier if possible. But that's our direction that we want to take. So, Brian, any other discussion by council at all? Anyone? Okay. Then on that, do I have 2 votes I have to do, Dave?
Yep.
2 votes, okay. Do I have to go, is there some other part for deny accept, or how does it work?
So the draft motions are on page 46 there.
Okay,
So it's under denial, it's parts A and B, so if we could have votes on.
Am I reading this right here? 'Cause I'm not seeing this on my. Okay, I see it right here. So I have to go by denial, so do I get a motion for denial, or how do I do that?
Yep, so it'd be for both parts A and B, separate motions,
But under number 2.
under number 2, correct?
Okay. So I read the ordinance, and then I read the denial part, and we vote on it. Is that how we do it?
Just start out, the first one, calling for a motion to adopt resolution 2021-47 would be the first motion that we would make.
On the resolution.
Yep.
And then I read the denial to them?
And the second part of it is, so we're denying by resolution the ordinance, and then we're just denying the application.
All right. I wish I had to read it. But anyway, resolution, I read this thing off the agenda, and then I go back and read number 2, the denial, right? Is that what I do here? Okay. All right, do I have a motion to adopt or deny resolution? Is that how I'm going to read this?
Adopt resolution 2021-479
Okay.
ordinance.
All right, do I have a motion to adopt resolution 2021-47 denying an IUP interim use permit to allow agritourism uses on a site zone, BPK Business Park and Morris Amendment. Denial, and then move to deny the request to introduce permit for I just read that, basically, right?
We're just taking the first part, it's under A.
Under 8, so I've already read it, right? Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Councilor Robinson makes that motion. Do I have a second? Councilor Mewbauer makes that second. Any further discussion? Go to a roll call, please.
Councilmember Oswald. Councilmember Mulebauer. Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Mayor Feldman.
Aye. All right, now what I have to do?
Second part is the motion to deny the requested interim use permit for agritourism, as this use is not allowed.
Okay, I see, I just figured out this. Yep. All right, do we have a motion to move to deny the requested interim use permit IUP for agritourism, as this use is not an allowed use in the city zoning code, and direct staff to provide the applicant in writing a letter stating the reason for the denial? Do I have a motion? Councilor Wood makes that motion. Do I have a second? Councilor Mewbauer makes that second. Any further discussion? Joe, your roll call, please.
Councilmember Oswald. Councilmember Mulebauer. Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Mayor Feldman.
Aye. At this time, I also want to thank Beth from HKGI and Kate and her staff and everybody that was involved in this long drawn out discussion. Once again, here I say to the people, the residents, you want to battle, which was right. I believe in that, but the war is about business part, so just be prepared, okay? And we'll listen to your comments as that, as we did here and all that. But at the end of the day, you have to understand something. The council looks at the bigger picture of the city. We don't look for one area versus another area. We're looking at the growth of the whole city, rural and urban together. That's how we got to where we are in the last 5 years, and we hope to continue that growth in the right direction. But we want responsible growth, not clustering, not a bunch of crap like this and that. Like I say crap that I'm saying irresponsible growth is not what we want. We want responsible growth. And we're willing to listen to anybody. We're hoping at the last work session that both parties can come together, but it just seems like this area, this is not going to work for them. Okay? So, there you go. All right? Thank you, Mr. Sumner. Thank you, residents. Thank you, everybody. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. We're going to move on to new business. Adjust the tax levy for bond indebtedness, resolution 2021-49.
Mayor and council, on your agenda tonight is a resolution to adjust the tax levy for bonded indebtedness. This is to adjust those levies. When the bonds are sold, they set a levy for it. And the city, for as long as I've been here, has levelized those, or in the case of the bonds that funded the police public works building, we are taking some money and transferring it in there instead of levying for that. So this is just to change those that are scheduled already at the county. I would like to note that the 2001 bond, that's the one that we just refunded, the last year of that levy is next year. So 2022 is the last levy year. If you have any questions, I certainly can answer
And
them.
what does that mean? Explain it to the public. When you say it's the last year for that.
That's the last year that we are levying for that. The rest of it is being paid off through it's the water and sewer portion of that bond. So we do not have to have a general fund levy, or a levy for that, a bond levy.
Okay, that's just, okay, all right, so, any questions, Kevin, you have on this?
No, I had an email exchange with Darcy earlier today and trying to wrap my head around it, but again, just for the public record, back in 2019, the levy was increased 9.39%. In 2020, it was only increased 5.47%. What's that?
We're not talking about that.
Oh, I'm
That's
sorry.
the overall yet.
Overall, I was just trying to do a comparison that way.
Yep.
And the bottom line is, we're preparing for the future. We've been in idle for a while, and for good reason, because the economy's been adequate, and as far as our needs have been adequate, but the city's going to grow. We are looking at maybe some expansion for a fire station, city hall at some point, because it's a necessity, not because it's a want or a whim. But we're putting some money away for the future. Again, we've got a lot of development that's happened here in the city in the last 2.5 years, which is awesome as far as homes. And the property tax, we're trying to recognize that as well and take advantage of that, because we are growing. And then as we grow, we need different facilities and services to meet the growing needs of the city. So at this time, I'm for it. Again, but this is something we don't take lightly, and I don't take lightly, and we're going to watch this very closely as each year clicks by, and we try to be very prudent with the money that we receive, and as we move forward. So that's all.
Okay, thank you. Joe, your comments? Thank you, Joe. Sarah, your comment? Well, I do. I would just say to you that the difference between past administrations and this administration is that we prepare ahead of time, and as Joe said, without burdening the public. So, you know, like in a household residence, if you want a certain product or a car or whatever, you save for it and don't buy it until you can afford to buy it. So we're not doing projects where we basically project on the wants, on the size of the project and go beyond our pocketbook. What we're doing is doing project based on the size of our pocketbook. So we are much more stable and strong budgetary management than ever before, I think, in the history of the city. And I would say that that's just good governance. So we're spending the dollars wisely, we're getting good return on the dollars, and the city's going in the right direction. But we don't spend what we don't have, besides getting projects for our pocketbook and not the other way around. I think this list makes good sense, and this is why we have a good, strong AA rating today. And I think that's the way we should continue doing our business. So I'm all for this, by the way. So that's just my comments. On that, do I have a motion to adjust the tax levy for bond indebtedness, resolution 2021-49? Do I have a motion? Councilmember Newbar makes that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Councilmember Robinson makes a second. Any further discussion? Joe, do a roll call, please.
Councilmember Udvig. Councilmember Mulebauer. Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Mayor Phil.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Moving on to item 9B, preliminary approval of proposed 2022 tax levy and setting budget hearing date, resolution 2021-50. Darcy?
Mayor and council, on your agenda tonight is the setting of the overall levy and setting the dates to finalize that. Our 2022 levy is proposed to increase to $4,669,590 as opposed to the 2001 levy, which was $4,234,590. Now this is broken down between general operating and the debt service. We just talked about the debt service levy. The general operating is broken down between $260,000 going to capital equipment fund, which we talked about in the CIP. Building improvements is $470,000, which could fund our new fire station, City Hall, which we have been talking about and planning for. And then $300,000 that goes into the street fund to fund street improvements. The remaining amount, $3,271,000, goes into the general fund. That's for the general operations of the city. And then the remaining debt service of $368,590. This is an increase of $435,000 over 2021 levy. That is 10.2%, but if you look, the tax rate is actually dropping slightly based on these figures. So if a home value stays the same between the 2 years, they'll actually see a decrease in their city property taxes. This is just the city portion of their property taxes. If you have any questions, I certainly, the last thing is, it is also setting it, the date for December 6th at 6 PM to have the final hearing.
Thank you, Darcy. I just want to mention for the public here that from 2015 to 2022, the tax rates have actually decreased from 17 when we took over down to the present in 2022 is that in 17 it was 54.116, in 18 it was 53.996, in 19 it was 53.176, in 2020 it was 50.543%, in 21 it was 50.589, and in 22 is proposed to be 50.490. Again, good management. Darcy, can you explain to what you explained to me on the item on building? Because in here on that page 56 rather, it shows that the total levy will be $470,000, and that's your building part.
Yep.
But you have $224,000 from this year, last year, and there's $246,000 added on this year.
No, it was $246,000 in 2021 that we put towards that, and we're adding another $224,000 to come up with the total for next year of $470,000 that will be going into the building fund.
All right, and I just want to mention for council's knowledge here that this is the relationship or analogy I want to give you is that in 1994, Cambridge built their wastewater plant, and in 2015 they upgraded that wastewater plant. But they planned that upgrade since 2005 for 10 years, raising rates gradually, having the public input over the 10 years, and so that by the time they came to pulling the bond for the upgrade, they had the money in place to pay their debt service. So that's what's happening right here. That is good, strong budgetary management. Not waiting to the last minute, scrambling where the money should come from, and then going to the pockets of the taxpayers and increasing rates at ridiculous rates. So this is what I believe is looking forward in a good management way, preparing ahead for the future sometime when this City Hall Fire Station that this city desperately needs to come forward, and we'll be able to pay the debt service on it without burdening taxpayers, which is good planning and good government. So I just wanted to make that analogy. That's what Cambridge did, and I think that's a good lesson to learn. Anytime you can learn a lesson from other cities or other areas that can help you out make better decisions, it's a good thing, not a bad thing. So I want to applaud Joe and Darcy and staff that getting prepared for this is a good thing, so that we're not rushing at the end like we did through the wastewater facility when we came out with high rate increases and then scrambled to get money to pay for it, and then as we all know how that ended up, and what we've done, decrease the rates 20%, losing more, or decreasing even more. Again, strong budgetary management takes work and takes diligence and staying the course, and that's what we've done over the years here, and we will continue to do. So that's my comments. Sarah, your comments on this, please? Okay. All right, Joe, your comments? Right, and you're right, because in 2017, we came in with just over 7,400 people, something like that in the city, and all that. And now we have 8,142. So growth is a big part of that. That's right, Jim. Thank you for making that comment. Kevin, your comments?
Just to reiterate as well, again, there's 300,000 going into a street fund, my understanding. Again, several years ago you had a street fund. We had none, zero, none, so it had to come from somewhere. Now we're getting.
That was assessments that came.
Right, as needed, you took it when you needed it right off the bat, and then people were upset because, it's coming across my front yard, now I gotta pay for it. Well, this has helped deplete some of that, and the city was able to do some projects this year without using MUSA money and whatnot, and we didn't have to go to the public and say, we're taking down your trees, and we need to meet certain requirements and stuff. We just went into the money that the city had set aside to do the street. I believe it was the northern side of Tamarack. And again, we just did it, and it's done, and now it'll be good for at least 10 to 12 years before it needs any other maintenance. But again, $300,000 in a fund that several years had nothing. The $470,000 for building. Again, the fire station has some mechanical needs and structural needs. The city hall's been cramped for a long, long time, and we're bustling and getting bigger. And as you see, if you go to city hall, you'll see there's, it's not elbow to elbow, but there's files and papers where they shouldn't be, and people should have some workspace. And it's just needed. It's time to address it. I know a lot of cities scrimp and they pound their chest saying, we haven't raised taxes in so many years. We'll look around the city and see what they have and what they don't have. And then not to have, what they need and what they don't have is what I should say. But, and then $260,000 for capital improvement. That's just the cost of doing business. The cost of machines go up, the cost of labor goes up, healthcare goes up. There's lots of ancillary costs that you need to take into consideration because the city is a business and you are the customer. So we have to prepare for this whether we like it or not. But like I said, we've been very prudent with the money that we do get. And please, by all means, look at your tax statement when you get it. The county gets X percentage, the school gets X percentage, and the city's pretty much the tail end of the dog. So again, it's not a small amount of money, but we're happy to get it. And again, we've had people move to the city more so in the last 2 years than before, and building permits, as Kate can tell you, are happening. Things are happening, and you got to be prepared for it. So if we deny all this and just let it go and say we don't need this stuff, our city would show it, and it would be pretty rough and ragged around the edges. So I'm glad to see that we're looking forward and doing the right thing.
I would agree. Thank you for that comment. As I stated many times before, every city has to spend money to supply the services the residents require. The key of spending that money is what kind of return on the dollar you get. And I think we've gotten a good return on the dollar for the years that we've done this. And I think we just need to keep the course and keep doing what we're doing. We are facing growing pains, is what we're facing. And those growing pains create problems, and how we deal with them as a team and if you're strong budgetary management is the key. And we will continue to do just that. So on that, do I have a motion tonight to adopt preliminary approval of the full 2022 tax levy and setting the budget hearing date for December 6, 21 at 6 p.m. Resolution 2021-50. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Councilman Robinson makes that motion. Do I have a second? Councilman Newbar makes that second. Brian, any further discussion? Joe, do a roll call, please.
Councilmember Udvig. Councilmember Newbauer. Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Mayor Feldman.
Aye. Thank you all for your comments. Thank you, staff, for all your work. Moving on tonight to my new business number, item 9C, schedule work session. Kate, I believe that's you.
Yes, Mayor and Council, tonight I'm asking for a work session to walk through some of our land use process and some of our projects. I've been working with Beth here, and two dates that we would recommend would either be September 28th or October 12th, if either of those dates work.
Say that again, Kate, what date?
September 28th, which is a Tuesday, or October 12th, which is also a Tuesday.
Okay. Well, which would you prefer?
September 28th? if
Sarah,
that's-
what is your comment, Sarah? The dates are September 28th, Tuesday, or October 12th, Tuesday. Did you hear that?
Mayor and Council, we may have more information by the 12th on one of the projects. So, but
Tell me
either
what
date,
you would prefer.
12th.
12, I guess.
We'll do the 12th.
12th.
Yes.
October 12th, 5:30. Is that agreeable, everyone? I know it's a little hard for Joe with his time difference, but. Right, because what are we 2 hours ahead of you, or 2 hours, and you're 2 hours, or 1 hour ahead?
You're 2 hours later right now. It's almost 5, and it's
Yeah, so that even if we bumped it to 6 o'clock, it still wouldn't help you. No. All right, well. All right. Well, I'm gonna go for 5:30, so you're, okay, because that's a long day for staff as it is, you know, so you're there and we're here, okay? So let's go Tuesday, October 12th, okay, I'm gonna set this in here. Work session. The work session at the community center, where do you want it? Conference room, community center, where do you want it? Where do you want it?
City Hall will work.
City Hall, in the conference room? Okay, well, we get to sit at that table for the first time. That's interesting. Okay, cool. All right, let's go, just a second, so we'll get this. City Hall. All right, work session for Tuesday, October 12th at 5:30 at City Hall. All right, Joe will get information to you, keep abreast with us, and we'll see what we can do, okay? All right,
Thank you.
is that what you wanted?
That's all I needed.
All right. Game to please. Game to please. All right, that's done. Second meeting over the public, I can see we don't have anyone here, so that's all right. Okay, department heads, department reports, right? Department heads. That's gone off. All right, Dave. let's hear it.
Mr. Mayor, Council, for your review is the fire department monthly report for the month of August. We're happy to report that federal response times continue to trend in the right direction with an average of 6 minutes and 14 seconds for the month of August. Unfortunately, we also continue to see our run volume increase. August was a very busy month for the fire department at 75 runs. And you can see that trend line is certainly going steadily in the increase for our responses. Our staffing remains stable, 6.4 average firefighters per call. And our distribution between fire and EMS runs has been pretty consistent, as you've seen month to month. Additionally, in the month of August, we continue to utilize our advanced EMS variances pretty highly. Unfortunately, we are reporting 5 calls that we did flag in the month of August as meeting COVID criteria. We're seeing that same trend in September thus far, but hopefully we'll see that decline again here in the future months as we get into the fall. And for fire inspection report, we completed 2 fire inspections in August, which isn't uncommon for this time of year as we start to transition into more fire prevention. And community outreach this time of year, so our fire inspections tend to kind of fall off a little bit in the fall. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I was sad to see that 5 COVID, but that's just time right now. By the way, are we on the fire for?
Yep, so a couple weeks ago, when we first got kind of 3 days of rain, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that dropped the DNR's fire list below. And it's maintained that rating ever since, and today, they're talking potentially up to 2 inches of rain today, so I don't anticipate that changing.
I see response times are lower.
Correct.
And I see the EMS calls are up, which seems to be the way of direction.
Well, with the hot weather, that not only impacts our fire list, but there's certain disease processes that are highly impacted by the sustained hot and dry weather.
Okay, but the highest that you have besides COVID is the glucometer.
Yep.
Okay, by the way, one other thing I want to ask you about, that particular person with that fence, that wood fence, that, was out of sticks or whatever.
Sure.
Has that been set, have you seen it?
I checked back in spring, I believe we had this discussion, we were in the process of putting up a privacy fence, so from what I can see, what I can access, I can't tell what's behind that privacy fence, but they have reconciled the issue with a 6-foot fence.
So is that stick fence still there, or they take it down?
I can't see it from the vantage point that I have.
Well, I would like to see if you could go over there and check it more thoroughly to get the council to write that out, or the end of it.
I'll put it on my list for this
Okay,
week.
I appreciate that. All
Absolutely.
right, Kevin, have any comments on this report?
No, I don't. A very thorough report as usual. Appreciate it. The in-depth part of it. Again, the EMS side is awesome. Again, you're making the other Alina look not as efficient as you guys are, so And it just needs to see the training that's taking place, and like I said, back in August when we had some firefighters out in our area, they were genuinely happy to be there, so I think you've changed morale quite a bit, and the attendance, as far as attendance to fires, it also shows that as well, so keep pumping them up, you're doing good.
Well, at least we're thinking.
Thank you. Sarah, your comments? Thank you, Sarah. Joe, your comments? All right, one more question I have for you. How's it going with Melvin?
It's going, so we're in the budgetary process over there, so we're working through that right now. They did approve us for $600,000 expenditure to replace the tanker over there. We're also engaged in the hiring process.
Can I ask you what the vote was on that, by the way? Can I ask you what the vote was on that?
For the $600,000 purchase, it was unanimous vote of the council.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Their Heritage Days Festival is Saturday, so we're doing a small open house over there on Saturday from 1 to 3. So hopefully we can continue to move the thing forward. But it's a lot, there's no doubt.
And as Kevin alluded to, you've done great with the morale of our firefighters. How's the morale going there with their firefighters?
It's excellent. Mayor Pilon was here a few months ago and alluded to the fact that this has been a very long and tedious process, not only for council over there, but for the firefighters. And through that process, I think unfortunately, they're very frustrated, certainly had a high degree of concern on how this process was going to work out. Now that we have a little over 5 months under our belt, they're very pleased, they're excited, turnout's been fantastic. And there's been no shortage of high acuity events over there too, so we've really been challenged these first 5 months as an independent organization, and we've stepped up tremendously.
But I would have to say, in my opinion, by the way, it stems from leadership down. Okay, I think that's what I know, in my belief, that's what we've seen here, and I think that's what you brought over there, because I don't think they had that much there.
Well, and I can't comment specifically on what they lived through in its entirety. All I can say is that they're very pleased with where they're at.
That's good. Thank you, Dave. Keep up the good work, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, good report. Moving on to Public Works, Jason.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, let's select this some items here out of the report tonight to talk about. One that's not in the report is the hiring of John Mackey. He'll be starting September 27th. He actually is a now-then resident. Very impressed. He interviewed very well. Very sharp individual. He's excited to get started, so we're excited to have him. No lift stations pump pulled. So that's a good thing. That means that nobody was flushing anything they shouldn't have in the last month. We completed our 20,000 feet of jetting and televising in our sewer line district. I have not gotten the reports back yet to see, how they are, but a lot of that is plastic pipes, so I wouldn't anticipate there being any issues there. But if there is, we'll address them as they come. The water tower had its biannual inspection done, with no issues there. Biosolids processing is complete, just under 900,000 gallons of biosolids that will be able to be land applied. And our
How much was that?
just under 900,000. So it's a pretty good pile back there. It's crazy how you get that liquid form and now you go back there and it's a pile of dirt.
Yeah.
So very expensive fertilizer.
You're putting it on the land, you get a lot of money for it.
Right. And then I'm happy to announce our DNR water reduction plan to reduce 50% of our January pumping numbers. Through July, we were able to get up to 30% towards that 50%. It wasn't mandatory that we got there. They just wanted to see how, what we could do to get it there. And, with the newsletter and word of mouth and the residents cooperating, we hit that 30%. It's probably even a little higher right now. Granted, we had, before today, we had, I think, a little over 3 inches of rain in St. Francis in August. obviously that number's gonna be, you know, I think it was 3 inches total in August, but with, you know, what we've gotten this month, the numbers are starting to come up. So we're still a long ways away, but I was very pleased to see that the public really took charge and they did their part on the sprinkler ban. So, or the sprinkler irrigation reduction. With that, happy to answer any questions.
All right, well, yeah, I had, one of my notes was the no cloud lift station with a question mark, so zero's nice.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen every week for a time, but that's nice. So one question I have for you on this process locate request, the 89, are we using that new locate tool?
Absolutely. So the guys have been trained on that. I'm glad you brought that up. We had the training, I think, was last week or the end of the week before. Guys got a really good handle on it. They've been using it. We're going to continue to use it. And not just for locates, but actually, like we said, be proactive and locate all our water services. So that will be one thing the new guy will be doing. We got a detailed list on his orientation. He's going to start out in the water plant, shadow the guys there, and then he'll go over to the sewer side. But really, he'll be one that will go out and start by the districts and locating our curb stops, so we get them uploaded to our GIS. And that's just gonna, you know, we'll be able to do a lot of things with that. Curb stops that are too low, they can be raised. Ones that are bent can be, you know, straightened. And then you don't have to worry about in the wintertime if the ground is froze, you're out there in a water main break or service break, we can actually get on these things. So that's been a great addition thus far.
But it has helped you so far.
Yes.
All right, good. And I hope that, like I say, the jetting of the 20,000 feet with PVC should, if it was quick cast iron, I'd be concerned, but it doesn't. All right, Joe, your comments on this report? All right, Sarah, your comments? Kevin, your comment?
Other than just another good report, thank you very much. And again, your enthusiasm is easily seen, and I think it's probably adding to your crew as well. So you're pretty exuberant when you come to these meetings. Usually, you know, this is one of the more fun things that you guys have to do as department heads. So I just appreciate that as well.
All right, thank you. All right, let's move on to council member reports. Sarah, I'm going to start with you, okay? All right, thanks, Sarah. Joe, your comments?
I attended the work session also. It's great to see the public come out and state their case. And again, it really offers us as on the council side to get more thought process of, we don't live there, we're not there, not in front of it, but just a lot of good points that are getting brought up. I also went up to I'm the liaison for the planning and zoning meeting we had last week. It was very spirited. It was very well attended, which was, when I walked through the door, I thought I was at a church service. It was awesome. Again, everybody got up. We had 15 or 16 speakers. I think I took note. They brought some good points. They let you go home thinking about a lot of stuff. And I had a lot of positive comments as I left the building, unafraid. Left the building and people commented on how the work that we do, and they're glad that we even stepped up to do the work that we do. And again, we're nothing special, but we do this because it's kind of a calling. But I was disappointed that we have 3 commissioners that did not attend the meeting, and they did not reach out to anyone saying they were going to be there. So we were limited. We had enough for a quorum, but we were still limited. If you say you're going to do something, please step up and do it. It's not an easy thing. I'm glad you came forward in the first place. And again, Kate's tried to implore people, we'll help you with training, we'll help you with this. Whatever makes you comfortable and gets you more knowledgeable to help do the cause. Because 2 weeks ago, the mayor said, how did this come to my desk when it wasn't vetted properly? Well, we need more people to care. I mean, this is our town, our city. If you stepped up, stay standing up and come to these meetings, the council meetings. You might learn some things as well. We all started with not much experience, and now we get more comfortable in front of people and we have more experience. Doesn't mean we'll do the right thing, but we're here. Unbeknownst, not like the 3 people who didn't show the other day and could have offered some very good insight, I'm sure. So if you're on the board, please come in and fulfill those spots properly and give us your 2 cents. Even if if you're shy and bashful, talk to Kate behind the scenes, or when it's all over, compare notes and whatever it takes. But if you signed up, you should show up. Very disappointing in that regard. Also, if you're an applicant for the planning, for anything having to do with planning or zoning, you should show up. Also, somebody in your stead, if you can't make it, a prior engagement. I mean, we've had probably 45 people in this room, but the applicant themselves was not here. It was a big deal to them. They went through a lot of expense to get there. They used a lot of city money and time to get here, and then they don't show up. It's crap. It's just plain crap. The other people took the time out of their nights to come here and state their side of the situation. So I don't have any lost feelings for somebody not going to come, at least even somebody in their stead to represent them. It was a big deal to the 45 plus people who showed up. Apparently it wasn't a big deal to the applicant, and they got money to suspend. So we also take that into consideration when you're looking at these things that help shape our city. So other than that, I'm happy to be a part of this crew. And the crew that we work with, everybody works really hard, so that's all I got.
Thank you. My suggestion on this audio, either talk to Metro INET, or let's look at something else.
Can I just say the OWL is working really good right now?
Well, that's good, because the meeting's just about over.
Oh, no, it's been working good. It's the Zoom is what is causing the issue right now with the speaking, having to get that back here.
All right, well, in that case, if you have to talk to Metro INET about this to get some help, that's why we belong to them, JPA. So let's do what we have to do. I mean, they know the softwares, they know this stuff and all this, but we gotta have this volume much better than this and not this echo stuff here, okay? So you have a comment here I'm seeing?
Well, I shut my iPad off. Speak.
Right, but the key is can the public hear you? Well, I have to leave, listen, I only have to lend my ear to listen to you and Sarah even more so. So, whatever the problem is, again, if you need to reach out to Metro INET, whatever it may be, reach out to Metro INET. That's why we pay a fee to belong to them and their software or whatever. I don't know I don't know the answer, there's no questions right now. And we have never had good audio here in 5 years that we've been in this particular building. I can't wait for the day we have a chamber where we can actually talk and hear each other. Be like hot water at the bigger community for the first time. Yeah, okay. Anyway, that's an inside joke.
True
All right.
statement.
Huh?
True statement.
Yeah, it's a two-stage inside joke. Anyway, just to bring council up, we started the security windows, and this company, for some reason, has, we've got scratched metal, we've got scratched glass, then we've got wrong measurements, and hopefully on the 28th, a week from tomorrow, the final stuff will be put in for 1 hour's worth of work. I mean, I've never seen it like it in my life, 3 trips for 1 hour's worth of work, but we're not paying any more, so I can guarantee you that they will be, the bid stays the bid. But they tried to do a rush because they broke the glass on this last measurement. And their idea of a rush, instead of 2 to 3 days in the normal world, is 11 days in their world, which boggles my mind. I mean, when someone puts a rush on something, I would say you probably get it within 2 days, 3 days max. I mean, but their version is 11 days. So we will get it hopefully on the 28th and be done with that. We've had good comments from the public on it. They see it, and if there is a spike in a pandemic, or which there is, and hopefully not in the state as much as in other states, and again, the pandemic down the road, this will act as our best for that as well as security. As far as the fobs, Electro Watchman has done a great job. All the doors are fobbed now, I believe. I believe that to be true.
I believe so too.
Am I getting that? You guys are using fobs now to enter?
We got a couple things we gotta work out.
There's kinks.
Yeah.
There's always a kink,
Right.
okay?
And we knew there would be, so we gotta do some door
And
adjustments.
as far as the monitoring, we probably will be changing over to Electro Watchman for all the buildings, seeing as the company we've been dealing with does not know how to return a phone call, which, I mean, just because you got work doesn't mean you don't want to try hard to keep the work. It's amazing in this world today. As far as the liquor meeting, we have a construction meeting on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. We will discuss the parking lot in the front that's going to be redone. They're doing the back part now. The block work is starting outside. There are some been delays in material, and again, I plan on course scheduling, but nevertheless, we are proceeding. Our showroom is on pace. Just put in the order today for the shelves. Cabinets were put in the break room today. Taping and sanding, all that's going on. Hopefully, they'll start doing the flooring soon. So things are progressing really well. I would suggest to all staff and to council, go over there and take a look anytime you want. The door's always open, okay? I mean, your hours are Monday through Thursday from from noon to 8, and Friday and Saturday 10 to 10, and then Sunday closed. But whenever you walk in there, the door to the back is always open, and of course, you're all welcome to see the progress we made, okay? It's turning out nice. It's doing a lot of work. But at the end of the day, it will give us what we hope it will give us, being able to buy bulk purchasing and buy a bigger quantity and get the savings passed on to the customer, the residents, and then more product line and be more competitive. I think we're doing the right thing at the right time, and I think it's going to be really nice when it's done. I'm very optimistic about it. I want to commend again John's staff for doing what I consider a great job with a small space. If you really want to have a laugh, just come over there and sit there on a Friday, Saturday, and go to crack up how these guys deal with this public. And they love it. I mean, they just absolutely love it. It's amazing. I mean, they get it, they get dished on, and they dish it right back, and people keep coming back for more. It's amazing to me. I love watching it. So, anyway, that's the thing there. I want to commend staff in general for all your hard work here. It's not easy working with the public, and I'm sure it's not easy working with us as a council. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. Public safety, both departments keep up really well on that. Very good compliments on the fire as well as the police. Really good community-oriented feeling that you best on and keep on. I think that's really important in a small town. People should never be afraid of police. They are, they want to call and follow the start. So, and that all stems down from leadership just as it does in the Department of Aid and Fire. So, when is your first tour, by the way, of the first fire station that you're going to look at?
It was originally scheduled for this Thursday, but I have a few to attend now, so this Tuesday.
And that was what city first?
Forest Lake, North Ranch, what was it, Wyoming as well?
No, Wyoming's being developed anymore, they're in the process.
All right,
And it's on our lands.
don't forget Zimmerman.
In Zimmerman.
The more information, better decision knowledge we can do. This dry run from the liquor meeting has taught me some things here on the way we'll vet the applicants for the RFP for the city hall fire station and also for the architectural firm, and we'll also vet for that. A lot different, we'll be much more thorough on that. Sometimes when you delegate to the wrong people, it doesn't get done the right shit. But you learn from your mistakes, and that's the key. Make them, learn from them, don't repeat them. I want to thank Dave and everyone else, Jenny, of course, and the rest of the staff for a good job done. Your patience is very well appreciated, dealing with us and the residents. It's not easy. There's conflict that we always have between rural and urban. People have to understand the city's growing, and growing pains creates problems. That's what it does. We can state, you know, it's amazing to me that people want the Aldi's and want the Walgreens and want this and want that, but you can't get them unless you grow. And when you grow, you create problems. You know, service areas with police, fire, public works, everything else that goes with it. The sad thing is that the city over the last years went through 6 buildings to get to where we are today, and the building that they decided to buy is the smallest building of all the buildings, I believe, if I recall. Because one ambassador out here on 27, if they leased the south end, if they would have bought the whole building, we could have grown into that one. But all the other buildings, we're now we have outgrown this building by so much, and it was the smallest building, I think, of all of them. And I mean, we're in the liquor muni, we had 2/3 of liquor muni in 85. And then we moved out of that, gave it to liquor, and then, I mean, it's just been, we're at a point here because we're growing that the city hall is not sufficient anymore. And our fire station, it was hodgepodge together, it wasn't designed and what it's for to be used for. So this is the dilemma we're in, and we'll deal with it, and the way we're dealing with it, I think that's good business. So when that comes about, all the discussion that will happen in the interim, the project should be well done, and a project that, by the way, will be going out, I believe Dave told me that they're looking at fire stations for about 75 years now.
Correct.
Okay. If that is done here, this should be a one-time deal, and be done with it, and we'll be able to grow into it as we grow in the city. It's the right thing to do. It's just a sad thing that it wasn't done a lot earlier. As in the liquor community expansion, it should have been done in 1985 when the city hall moved out, you know? But better than late than never, I suppose, right? Okay. Anyways, on that, I don't think there's any other thing I have any comments on. Staff, anybody, any business and all that? All right? Okay. Keep safe and keep healthy. Okay?